Okay.
Are we live now?
Manush, can you confirm?
I guess we're live because I'm seeing that live 31 seconds, 32 seconds.
Okay. Just 1 or 2 minutes.
S- yes, live now. So let's start. Uh, I'll start in Bangla to welcome our audiences as well. সবাইকে আহ 6 মিনিট দেরি করানোর জন্য আন্তরিক দুঃখিত। আমরা শুরু করতে যাচ্ছি আমাদের বাহাসে ও বয়ানে চলচ্চিত্র সংস্কার রোডম্যাপ কথন পর্ব 3। এবং আজকে আমাদের ডিসকাশন হচ্ছে চলচ্চিত্রের সার্বিক উন্নয়নে কেন স্বাধীন ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল দরকার প্রয়োজন। আমাদের সাথে 3জন আহ, খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট পার্সন রয়েছেন, 2জন ফিলিপিন্স থেকে এবং একজন আমাদের বাংলাদেশ থেকে। আর আমি হচ্ছে এখন তাদেরকে ইন্ট্রোডিউস করব। আমার নাম হাসিব শাকির, আমি রয়েছি চলচ্চিত্র সংস্কার রোডম্যাপের সাথে। So let's start the event. Let me introduce you to Bobby Rodriguez, filmmaker, producer, and educator from the Philippines. Bobby is here with us.
Hello,
Hi,
thank you for
Bobby.
having
How are
us.
you?
Thank you.
And we do have Jed Medrano, producer and film educator from Philippines. Hi, Jed. How are you?
Hi everyone. Hi Steve. Hi Tanvir. Hi Bob.
And last but not the least, of course, we have the inspiring filmmaker, producer from Bangladesh, Tanvir Hussain. Hi, Tanvir bhai.
Hello, Shakil. Thank you very much for inviting us. Hello, Bobby, Jed. Very good to see you.
Okay, so to start our discussion, of course, we know we will be discussing about Film Council, and of course, to a bigger part, we'll be discussing about FDCB. And we have Jed and Bobby with us to have more insights of very established film council from Philippines. So we'll start, but before we'll start about talking about FDCB, we will like to know more about the necessity of a film council, or I would say a centralized film administrative body of our country. And I will ask Tanvir Hussain if he can give us an insight about what is a film council. And there is a common misconception or confusion that we have in Bangladesh or in Bangladeshi film industry, that we do not completely understand the difference of a film council and the other related um, initiatives like film commissions. So, if Tanvir bhai, you can give us a brief.
Thank you, Shakil. First of all, Film Council. In brief, Film Council is an organization or a collective body that basically advocates or supports, nurtures the independent filmmakers, if you want to say it in a nutshell. But of course, the Film Council has so many wings, and it can put together all the infrastructure in under one umbrella, and you can operate, you can navigate through in one umbrella. So the coordination and the correspondence is very much in your control, and also very prompt and quicker for the beneficiary in the other end, you know. And also it offers so many things. A film council, when you have a film council, it's a very important element of your infrastructure, I would say, your film infrastructure. And it can provide you with immense opportunities in terms of advocating the rights and independent interests of independent filmmakers, you know. And also it can provide sometimes it can provide training, networking, co-production, and also it can actually make your film industry enlisted to the international film arena, which is a very important thing to have if you want to grow as an independent film industry with your independent cinema. It's a very important recognition that you need to have. And also it sometimes act acts like a bridge between the filmmakers and the government, and also with the international entity. So it altogether it supports the independent filming community mostly under one umbrella. So that's basically Film Council is. We will get to know more about what it is through actually Bobby and Jed when they will explain what FDCP does. We'll eventually get to know that what happens in a film council. And just to answer your question, I must not say it's a misconception that we have regarding film council or film commission. The thing is, since we do not have it here, it's not a question about us for reforming it, it's about forming it. So since we do not have it, we have some lack in the information or lack in the knowledge. That's why we actually sometimes confuse these two things. Basically, film council, for my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby and Jed, in my understanding, film council is a bigger umbrella, and it's a bigger entity where all this infrastructure, all these policies, you can make policies. You can actually deliver policies through a film council, and it's more connected with your region to international. It's a bridge between international entity and the national entity, and also it helps you to take your cinema beyond your boundaries. And on the contrary, film commission is more regional. For instance, in Bangladesh, if we have a film council, that might be Bangladesh Film Council, which is the mother organization, which is the bigger umbrella, and we might have Khulna Film Commission, Chittagong Film Commission, which is more like provincial. And what's the biggest difference that I understand is a film commission acts more it's when with the film council you are trying to take your film beyond your border. A film council actually it's a reciprocal thing. A film council is also a wing. A film commission is also a wing of your film council, and it also brings the outer entity to your country. It invites others to your country. It ensures the filming locations. It gives you one-stop solutions to from the location permit to the logistic support and everything. So that you can actually invite others to come into your region and shoot the film there, and actually you are inviting others to come with you. And also a film commission actually regionally works as a hand of a film council. Like when you have all the commissions around you in the regional areas, you actually cover the whole thing through it. So collectively, you are actually taking your films out of your boundary, and also you are inviting someone else from outside of your boundary to inwards to you. So that's how it functions. It's the basic difference is like that. And also sometimes in film council, you are actually responsible. A film council is responsible for establishing treaties between two different nations, and also they can provide you fund grants. Same way, film commission also can act that way, but regionally. It can be regional. So you can imagine that a film commission is the right hands, left hands of a film council, as far as I understood. Maybe there are broader sense to it. We can discover through Bobby and Jed.
Right. Thank you for the wonderful insight, Kandik. And of course, like we will jump into how uh, a film council, as you just described, that how a film council should and have the responsibility to uphold the culture, art, and economy of the entire film industry of a country. So we'll talk about in Bangladeshi perspective also that how we should start or we can start from now on. But before that, we should jump to Bobby and Jed, and we also want to know about the story of the Film Development Council of the Philippines. As we know, like in 1981, there was a Filipino Motion Pictures Development Board, and in 2002, FDC was started. So uh, I would ask Bobby first, then Jed, if you can give us the ideas and story behind like how it started and why it started, and with what kind of people it was initiated. Uh, Bobby, please.
Yeah, thanks, Shakil. Actually, between me and Jed is has been there way ahead of me in terms of working with FDCP and working with the people who have direct, in a way, involvement with the Development Council of the Philippines. But anyway, just from my own perspective, with how I understood that, and the facts are all there in the website of FDCP also, if you really want to find out how it all started. But it is under the office of the President of the Philippines. That's why the person sitting there as the chairman of the council is actually an appointee of the President. So I think much later in the discussion, because I think we will be talking about how we draw the line between artistic integrity versus government oversight. We'll reserve that much later. But in terms of FDCP and how it really is it's actually like a response or an answer to the growing need for Philippine cinema to have state level support, that it has to be supported by the government, not just financially but developmentally as a policy to provide assistance beyond the tangibles. So meaning to say by by empowering filmmakers to have the right training and to equip them with the right skills and knowledge. That is also something that the FDCP truly stands for. And I have benefited from it, especially because I come from the region, meaning I'm outside the capital of Manila, wherein Jed is actually there at the center. So FDCP has become a bridge to reach out even to those who are outside the capital. And we, from the regions, as filmmakers, we started feeling involved because of the programs that FDCP has actually put in place. So even my involvement with Busan Asian Film School was through FDCP. They have provided the linkages, the information, and ultimately the assistance to make it happen for us with all the logistics that was originally mentioned also. And just to give you a little bit of an information, I'm sure you'll ask us later, but FDCP acts both as a council and also as a film commission. Because we don't have a film commission that's separate from the Film Development Council. And the definition of Tanvir were all correct, that in the Film Council, it's more on developmental and policy based, and also to support the creatives, the filmmakers. Whereas in the commission, you are more focused on logistics, how to make it happen. In the like for those who want to film in the Philippines, the commission will help you with the tax and the incentives. But actually, FDCP does that also. So if you just look at the website of FDCP, there are so many programs that are actually in place and are beneficial to many Filipinos. But despite that, the truth is, Shakil and Tanvir, a lot of Filipinos don't know these things actually exist. That a lot of the programs are actually in place. So while it's there is also a need to disseminate the information so more people can benefit from it. Because sometimes the campaign is not as widespread, so that many people wouldn't know that there's this window for funding, there's this kind of program. And so we're a bit lucky that Jed and I were able to be recipients of many of these programs. But I will not talk about everything because I want to give some of it to Jed because she didn't say. Go, Jed. It's your turn.
Okay. Okay. Well, personally, I'm not that knowledgeable about the origins of FDCP, but just the very basic overview of how the FDCP started. Sorry, can you hear me? My sound is good.
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you,
Okay.
Jed.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. So if I remember correctly, the FDCP started in 1982 through the Experimental Cinema of the Philippines. It is where created after the Manila Film Festival. It's a local film festival that eventually transformed to another festival, to another name, but it the original mandate is to really to promote local film development and then to establish a film rating system back in the days. It is under, of course, the our president, Ferdinand Marcos, and also one of the mandate is to provide financial assistance through the film fund. Then eventually, the ECP, or the Experimental Cinema of the Philippines, um, transform or have another name, which is Film Development Foundation of the Philippines. And then after that, now the FDCP, which is now called the Film Development Council of the Philippines. So basically, the mandate of the FDCP still remains as um, to really promote and professionalize the film industry, also to give educational training to filmmakers, um, education, professionalize, eventually like give film funding for the filmmakers, and also give trainings and workshops that we are now everyone is enjoying through the FDCP various programs. So that's how I understand how the evolution of the FDCP. So yeah, okay. I'll just jump into the difference between the film council and the film commission. Basically, Tanvir is correct that film council is actually nurturing the industry within, um, while the film commission is more on attracting the foreign the outside the external productions to shoot locally. So they are in charge of the managing of the logistics, of the helping different productions to shoot in your country, to shoot in, locally. So basically, um, so productions, permits, location services, um, and also as part of course in the tourism or economic development of the country. So it's really more on promoting filming locations and helping in the logistics side. And for me, that's how I understand the film commission. But as Bob said, that FDCP is like functioning as both, as like a council and also a commission, because evidently because of their existing programs that we will discuss later, like the FLIP, the Film Location Incentive Program. So that where we invite foreign productions to shoot in the Philippines, and that's how it's more on the Film Commission mandate, but still under the FDCP. However, I also want to share that we also have another film commission, which is based in Manila. We call it the QCFC, or the Quezon City Film Commission. That's where we met Tanvir for the IAVE masterclass last year. So it is organized by the QCFC. So but more on the umbrella organization, it is really the FDCP, because QCFC is it's like a regional, what do you call that? A regional arm. So it's like a bit smaller because they only have the Quezon City as their, what they call it, as the recipient, or who receives benefit from it. But since it is a commission, that's how they can have like international projects that foreign filmmakers can still join. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bobby and Jed. Wonderful insights about uh, FDCP, and we'll also talk about that how FDCP, that you already kind of started discussing about it, that how FDCP is benefiting every aspects of filmmakers in every aspects of filmmaking as well. But before that, we have a question in the comment box from an audience that which should be prioritized first from Bangladeshi perspective, establishing a council or a commission to push the government for implementation. From Al Hasib Khan Anando, আনন্দ আপনার কোশ্চেনের অ্যান্সার আমার পার্সপেক্টিভে হচ্ছে গিয়ে ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল যেহেতু এটা একটা মাদার বডি হিসেবে কাজ করবে, তো এটার এস্টাবলিশমেন্ট সবার আগে হওয়াটাই উচিত। তারপরে হচ্ছে আমি তানভীর ভাই কাজ করব to give his answer, and also Tanvir bhai, with this question, if you can add on to this part that uh, what is the cultural and artistic and economical needs of a film council in Bangladesh right now?
Thank you. Thanks for the question. Yes, I'm totally agreed with Hasib Shakil that we need to have the film council first. Not because that it's a bigger entity or bigger body. It's not like that. But the thing is what you need right now. Because if you research on our industry right now, I mean, our independent film industry, what it requires. I would say it requires now the amount of co-production opportunities so that we can have a regular co-productions. We are now taking our films to the world once in a blue moon or in a very individualistic approach, very indie way. But you need to regularize it. You need to make it like a habit. So in order to do that, I believe you need to have more and more co-productions, and a film council can help you doing that. A film council can bridge you for that. You need to have recognition. You need to have enlistment, because as Bobby and Jed was explaining, one of the most important job for a film council is to making policy and also helping the independent filmmakers to train themselves. So what a film council does is film council can enlist you to so many labs that we are still not able to access. There are so many labs and workshops around the world, around Southeast Asia or beyond Southeast Asia in Europe, where as a South Asian or as a Bangladeshi, you cannot have the access to apply. But a film council can interfere there, and a film council can actually make that bridge between that country and with that organization, so that your people can go there and be eligible for application. Or sometimes, like we often see Quezon City Film Commission or FDCP mostly, as an example, they always do it. In all the labs, they have a kind of treaty or kind of agreement signed between them, so they can actually refer a bunch of filmmakers to some certain esteemed labs or workshops. So this is a very easier way to actually have that access. So we currently need that in Bangladesh to develop our infrastructure for our cinema. So I believe for that, you need to have a film council first. And when you have film council, as Jed and Bobby said, a film council can also do the work do film commission's job as well. When you grow, when your industry is so big already, then you can already have these wings. Then there will be a time you can actually establish different film commissions around you. So as of now, of course, to answer that question, film council is the first priority, should be the first priority. And to answer Hasib's additional question, culturally, see, Bangladesh now is after the shift, after the political shift and reform happening everywhere, we are a country where our literature is very rich from many years, So having a rich literature is a big blessing to have a great industry for your cinema. But we cannot actually make use of that. We fail to take the advantage out of it. We fail to make use of it. So what I'm thinking is, my opinion is, if we had a film council by this time, film council would also help us to actually form the policies And also you can see this is a very complicated process right now. If you want to make a film out of your literature, the permission issue, this and that, makes the thing so much complicated. But if you have a film council, if it is a one-stop solution, there are many filmmakers who might will have an access to it, and you might will have more films to show to the world each year. So, and also film council protects your culture, because it takes your and also showcases your culture to the outer world. It helps you to take your cinema beyond your boundaries. So in a way, it helps you that way to portray your culture to the introduce your culture to the outer world, to the outer industry. And also financially, a film council, it sometimes it can act like a private organization, non-profit organization, but in my understanding, it must have to be backed by the government, because it's so big of an entity that it's almost impossible to continue it in a private initiative. We know our friends. We know there are bodies like private entities in Indonesia, in many places in the world, that is actually going well, but also they are backed by the government. Maybe not infrastructurally so well designed, but the government is backing them up. So you need a government patronization for sure to continue your to outgrow your council. Otherwise, day by day it will be it will be shrinked, I think. Mm.
Okay, thank you so much, Tanvir, right? And of course, we, if, like FDCP and any other film council or a centralized film institute, that always helps us to make our country's infrastructure industry more accurate and more prominent for the filmmaker. So we'll move to our next segment accordingly, which is the role of a film council of industrial development. And before that, I will ask our audiences, if you have any queries, you can drop it on comment and we can address them accordingly. So to start our next segment, I would first talk about, would like to talk about the primary beneficiaries of film industry, which is the filmmakers. So in FDCP's take, if Jed, you can give us more insight of, as we already talked about in a opening frame, but if you can give us more hints about how regional filmmakers and independent filmmakers or newcomer filmmakers are getting benefited or getting promoted through FDCB with all the interesting initiatives that FDCB have. And if you have any favorite to pick.
So how do FDCP help the filmmakers, right? Primarily.
Yes,
Okay.
through the
So of
labs
course,
and initiatives as well.
yes, of course. So uh I think number one is the film funding. It really helped a lot of new producers and directors and filmmakers, storytellers to really jumpstart their first film. It the seed grant is really helpful. I mean, they're not providing all of the funds of your film, but the seed grant is an important push for first time filmmakers, or for the beginners to really begin their journey in making their own film. Because prior to the previous administration of the FDCP is not really giving funding. So it's really a new development, maybe like in the last, Bob, right, 10 years, correct? 10 to 12 years. So
You're talking about the Create PH,
the
right?
funding.
Yeah,
Yes, the ACOF, and the Create PH, right?
yeah.
Before,
Well, this
maybe 10 years,
happened
right?
when this was because the budget was expanded. So they
Mm.
appropriated
Yes.
bigger budget, um, Well, it actually also depends on the priorities of the current leader, but there is always like a
Yes.
standard, but it sometimes it goes a little higher or a little depends really on the priorities. So, Jed, go ahead, please.
Yes. So basically before there's no like what do you call that, a formal program that really gives funding. But now there are various programs that filmmakers enjoy. So it's the ICOF, the International Co-Production Fund. It's the Create PH, and all the other funding programs like the IFSAP or the International it's a travel grant for filmmakers so that we can join international labs, festivals, because they give an amount that they will help the filmmaker to travel outside the outside the Philippines, in Asia, Europe, US, whatever. So that's one. I think the film fund is really very important, especially for independent filmmakers and for beginners. Second is the educational component. It's for the development of the filmmakers. Um, of course, it's not enough that that the talent is stagnant. It should always up, it should be always on that upward position. Filmmakers should always improve themselves and under go workshops and trainings. So that's where the FDCP also helps, because it's either first the one, they organize the workshops specialize in different um, department. For example, it's the cinematography workshop, the script writing workshop, production design, producing, production management, acting workshop like the Meissner workshop is also one of the good programs of the FDCP. So the third, I think it's FDCP also helps in distributing um like helping us promote our films in the international festivals, because FDCP usually have like a booth where, for example, in BIFF, uh, we have like a Philippine pavilion where all the filmmakers can gather there, and all the other programmers, foreign filmmakers, or anyone actually who are interested in collaborating with Filipino filmmakers. They give space for that. So I think that's really important. It's like you have there's a space for everyone to really freely collaborate and uh, begin their co-production dreams come true because of that. you know what else? The help of the so it's the funding, it's the education and training programs, their presence in the international film festivals and markets, um, and also what else? Of course, FDCP also helps in restoring classic Filipino films, because we have an issue of of film preservation and restoration, because as you know, Philippine cinema is more than 100 years old, and there's only a recent like efforts to really save the classic films. So since it's very expensive to restore the Filipino classic films, the help of the FDCP budget is really push to really save what is can be saved, because not all of of our Filipino classic films can be saved. So this really they help also give funding for that. So yeah, okay, Bobby.
I, I just wanna add up to what Jed mentioned, because I think it can be overwhelming, especially for our Bangladeshi filmmakers listening, in terms of the number of programs. But let us not forget that FDCP is already a product of decades and decades of also.
Yes.
It's a hit and miss. There are times when They also do not answer to the problems. They don't have the capacity to do that. But I think we have to consider also that the Bangladesh film community will be starting from the ground up to build this particular dream. So for me, we just really have to focus on if once we have the film council, because it's really supporting the local cinema first, and everything else will follow. Once you have a solid community of filmmakers who are already empowered in terms of their creative confidence, and then you have the development for education and skills, and of course your cultural mandate. It has to be a shared vision by the government and the stakeholders that these activities will go somewhere. You don't just do this now because it looks nice, or it we need to keep up with other film council somewhere. If the values are there that this is important because it will bring us intangible but long lasting effects, then the value will bring the people together. So all these things that Jed enumerated are already a product of that alignment. There is that vision that carries us through. And in fact, until now, there are still more to be done. It's the project, or the program is not yet fully answer. It doesn't answer everything yet. So in Bangladesh, once we have that kind of clarity that we need to do this, but first let's focus on our own before we even think about international co-production, going into the global stage. We need to be solid first on the ground as filmmakers together first, defining what we want to happen, but also slowly building the infrastructure. We need the government to see that this is going somewhere. You have to have the pillars first, and then everything else will follow. So in the case of FDCP's programs, there are so many, but again, these are all effects of a long, long time of hard work and collaboration. So I think all the other effects of the council, the great things will happen eventually once the core is there. So I'm saying this because I think the Bangladeshi filmmakers will need to understand that it starts with the pillars first. So for me, there are three. So creative empowerment. You guys will have to create something like a micro grant programs first, small grants, seed programs, and see which of these filmmakers really show commitment and the talent, of course. Because sometimes if you keep giving grants, it doesn't guarantee that the film will get finished, because that's the experience also with the programs here in FDCP. So we have to make sure that all of these are in place, the system, accountability, make sure that when you put out the grants, it really goes to the deserving people, and to make sure that it's also inclusive, that you don't gatekeep, you don't give the grants to the people that you need to open it up to everyone who deserves it as well. So education, you need to have your own film labs, invite your networks that you know personally first, and then make it grow, and so on and so forth. So I'm coming from the perspective of a film educator also. Like, you start small but solid, and everything else will just follow.
Thank you so much, Jed, for nailing it out, and also Bobby to actually giving us the perspective of how Bangladesh film industry should think and grounding us in such a way. But we are all also related to film education, as you guys both are teaching students, filmmakers. So I would like to ask about FDCP's initiative about film students and how those are benefiting. If you can point out one particular program just, and how those are benefiting, because the film students are the new generations and the people who are actually going to get the industry bigger later in this later stage. So, Bobby, if you can just give one example of a program.
Yes, the program that I would like to share with you guys is called the Academic Film Society. It's a program where FDCP ties up with schools that offer film subjects or film courses. So the benefits of being a part of this, you first sign a memorandum of agreement in terms of your commitment. So the school needs to also present to FDCP the curriculum of the offerings, the course offerings that has to be related to film or media production. And FDCP will give the students access to its funding grants or funding programs. So they have their own student film assistance program, wherein students who are making thesis films will get they're actually not big, but they are great help already to the students because no matter what amount, the students will make use of that and they will be creative and resourceful. But that is already an idea that FDCP is actually nurturing the younger generation in making their visions also happen. And the results are already fantastic. We have experienced it ourselves, Jed and I. Our Jed students are winning in national competitions because of that. They are discovering new talents, young students who are sometimes better than the old ones. Very talented, raw, and FDCP values that. They give support and they are encouraging. Personally, I am very thankful for FDCP because our university is a recipient of this particular program. So maybe Jed will have something to add to that.
I totally agree with you, Bobby. I really love this FTC program called the SFAP, or the Student Film Assistance Program. And also my school is also Mapua is also a member of the Academic Film Society under the FDCP. It's actually where you, as Bobby said, the program is where a graduating student can apply for their thesis film, and there's a film grant of around 900 US dollars. So in peso, it's like 50,000 pesos. Of course, this is highly competitive, and the student must comply with all the required documents for them to qualify for the grant. But I think of course, aside from the cash grants, um, the students or the future like producers is this is like a first step of the like training in applying for grants, right? So so directors or filmmakers of the film can apply for their thesis films. And is I think this is really a good way of training them young, of getting the grants, and because um of course, the film should have the FTCP logo, and the academic EFS logo in the end. But I mean, it's okay because they will really help a lot for the production process of the thesis. Anyway, aside from the SFAP, they also give free workshops for students, and not only students but only anyone interested in learning film, like in cinematography workshop, acting workshop, script writing under the, they do this interagency collaboration. For example, FDCP and they will and the another group, like example the LPS or the Lupodang Pilipinong Cinematographico, or the cinematographers group, they will like do a collaboration and they do a free workshop for anyone who wants to learn the camera. There's another program where the FDCP will work with a writers group. It's called the FSG, or the Filipino Screenwriters Group, and the FDCP will fund the workshop, and it's free for the students. So this very like productive and very educational programs really helps the students and anyone who are really interested in learning film. So yes.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing insights. Uh, I'll move to Tanvir. তানভীর ভাই, আমরা যেহেতু ফিল্ম এডুকেশন নিয়ে কথা বলছিল এবং স্টুডেন্টদের নিয়ে কথা বলছিল, তো আমরা আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য, আপনিও যেহেতু বিসিটিআই তে গেস্ট লেকচার হিসাবে ক্লাস করে নিয়েছেন কিছু আপরাইজিং ফিল্ম মেকারদের। তো এই অ্যাঙ্গেলে ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল গুলি বা আমাদের যে কোনো ধরনের ফিল্ম ইনিশিয়েটিভকে আমরা একদম বেস লেভেলের ফিল্ম স্টুডেন্টের কাছে কিভাবে এখন পৌঁছাতে পারি, এই এন্ডে আপনার যদি কোনো সাজেশন থাকে বা কোনো আলোচনা থাকে, এটা জানতে আগ্রহী আমরা।
Should I say in Bangla or English? What do you prefer?
ভাই বাংলাতে বললে ভালো, সবাই স্টুডেন্টের জন্য।
Oh, okay. So this part, Bobby and Jed, pardon me, I'm talking in Bangla. হ্যাঁ, it's a nice question, শাকিল। আমরা কিভাবে এই এডুকেশনটা পৌঁছাতে পারি? দেখেন, আমাদের এখানে এডুকেশন কিন্তু বিচ্ছিন্নভাবে হচ্ছে না সেরকমটা আমি বলবো না। এটা বিভিন্ন ইউনিভার্সিটি বা ইনস্টিটিউট তারা বিভিন্ন ধরনের কোর্স এখানে চালু করেছে, সেটা কিন্তু অলরেডি আমরা সেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি। কিন্তু কেন এটা সাস্টেইন করছে না সেইটা নিয়ে আমাদের মনে হয় একটু চিন্তা করার কারণ আছে, যে এটা হচ্ছে বিচ্ছিন্নভাবে কিন্তু কালেকটিভলি এটা কোথাও সাস্টেইন করছে না, বা সেটার বেনিফিট আমরা খুব একটা যে দেখতে পাচ্ছি তা না। তখন আমাদের আসলে প্রশ্ন করতে হয় যে তার মানে আমাদের ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচারালি কোথাও একটা গ্যাপ রয়ে গেছে, যে জন্য এই এডুকেশন গুলো বিচ্ছিন্নভাবে হলেও এটার কালেকটিভ কোনো পরবর্তী কোনো আউটপুট আমরা আসলে সেভাবে দৃশ্যত আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি না। তো সেই জায়গায় আমার মনে হয় এইটা আমাদের বোঝা দরকার, যে আসলে একটা ফিল্ম এডুকেশন, ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল বলেন, ফিল্ম কমিশন বলেন, যাই বলেন, ইফ ইট ইজ এ পার্ট অফ ইউর ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, তাহলে একটা ফিল্ম ফেস্টিভ্যাল, ঠিকঠাক ফিল্ম ফেস্টিভ্যাল, এগুলা কোনোটাই দিজ আর নট এট অল ডিসক্রিট, দিজ আর অল কানেক্টেড, ইটস অ্যান ইকোসিস্টেম। সো ওয়েন আপনি যখন এই ইকোসিস্টেমের একটা পার্ট, তখন এখানে যদি আপনার একটা বড় ইলেমেন্ট অনুপস্থিত থাকে, লাইক ফর এক্সাম্পল আপনার আসলে ফিল্ম স্কুলিংটা তখনই বেটার ওয়ার্ক করবে যখন কিনা আপনার আসলে ব্যাক এন্ডে ফিল্ম কাউন্সিলের মতো একটা ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার তৈরির জায়গা আছে এবং সেটার ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন আছে, পাশাপাশি আপনার সেই ফিল্মগুলো দেখানোর মতো ফিল্ম ফেস্টিভ্যাল আছে, যেখানে আপনি আপনার সেই কালচারালি আপনি আসলে এনরিচ হচ্ছেন প্রতিনিয়ত। তো এই তিনটা ফ্যাক্টর বা চারটা ফ্যাক্টরি, যতগুলো ফ্যাক্টরি আছে, সেগুলো যখন একসাথে কাজ করে তখন এই প্রত্যেকটা ফ্যাক্টরি আলাদা করে নিজের মতো করে গ্রো করতে পারে। কিন্তু এর মধ্যে যখন কোনো এন্টিটি থাকে না, তখন সেইটার ইম্প্যাক্ট আবার সবগুলোর মধ্যেই পড়ে। তো এইটা একটা আমাদের অন্যতম চিন্তার কারণ, যে আমাদের যেহেতু বিচ্ছিন্নভাবে কিছু কিছু জিনিস আছে এবং কিছু কিছু জিনিস নাই, লাইক ফিল্ম কাউন্সিলের মতো একটা ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট এলিমেন্ট আমাদের ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচারে অনুপস্থিত, এবং আমাদের ওই অর্থে ফেস্টিভ্যাল বলতে একমাত্র ঢাকা ফিল্ম ফেস্টিভ্যালকে আমরা দেখি সেই অর্থে, যেটা অনেক বড় পরিসরে হয়। হ্যাঁ, এবং আরো অনেক ফেস্টিভ্যাল আমাদের দরকার, রিজিওনাল অনেক ফেস্টিভ্যাল দরকার। এখন একটু একটু করে অনেক হচ্ছে, কিন্তু সেগুলো হয়তো একটা সময় গিয়ে দাঁড়াবে। কিন্তু এরকম আরো অসংখ্য ইনিশিয়েটিভ দরকার ছিল, সেটা হলে আমাদের এই এডুকেশনটা আসলে ওয়ার্ক করতো, এবং তখন আসলে আপনার প্রয়োজন পড়তো যে দ্যাটস দ্য রাইট টাইম টু ইউ ক্যান ক্লেম, আপনি গভর্নমেন্টের কাছে তখন ক্লেম করতে পারতেন যে দিস ইজ দ্য রাইট টাইম টু হ্যাভ আ বিগ ফিল্ম স্কুল, লাইক অনেক বড় একটা ফিল্ম স্কুল, যেটা স্বতন্ত্র একটা ফিল্ম স্কুল, যেটার মধ্যে সমস্ত ধরনের আপনার অপরচুনিটিস আছে, সমস্ত ধরনের ফ্যাসিলিটিস আছে, সেটা আপনি ক্লেম করতে পারতেন। বাট আপনি এখন ক্লেম করতে পারছেন না, কারণ হচ্ছে আপনার অন্যান্য সাইড গুলোতে আপনি আসলে সেলফ সাফিসিয়েন্ট না, আপনার এখানে ইনসাফিসিয়েন্ট আসলে ফ্যাসিলিটিস আছে বা ইনসাফিসিয়েন্ট ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার আছে। তো এই কারণে আমার মনে হয় ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল এই জায়গায় সবার প্রথম একটা কার্যকর ভূমিকা হতে পারে, কারণ একটা ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল অ্যাক্টস লাইক আ স্কেলিটন অফ ইউর হোল ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, কারণ এখান থেকে আপনার টোটাল ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচারটা নেভিগেটেড হতে পারে। এই যে ধরেন আমাদের কিন্তু চলচ্চিত্র অনুদান আছে, কিন্তু এটা বিচ্ছিন্নভাবে চলচ্চিত্র অনুদান হিসেবেই থেকে গেছে, এর সাথে বাকি অনুষঙ্গগুলোর কিন্তু কোনো কানেকশন নাই। কিন্তু একটা ফিল্ম কাউন্সিলের আন্ডারে কিন্তু এই যে জেড বা ববি বললেন যে এখানে অনেক ধরনের গ্র্যান্ট, অনেক ধরনের ফান্ডিং অপরচুনিটিস তৈরি হওয়ার সুযোগ থাকে। তো এই ফান্ডিং অপরচুনিটিস কিন্তু আমাদের সরকার থেকে তৈরি করা আছে। এখন এটার ডেলিগেশনটা কিভাবে হবে বা ফান্ডিংটা আসলে ঠিক কতখানি আমাদের দরকার এবং কার কার জন্য দরকার, সেটা নির্ধারণ করার জন্য ঠিকঠাক মানুষগুলোকে একত্রিত হতে হবে, যেটা আসলে একটা ফিল্ম কাউন্সিল করে দেওয়ার সামর্থ্য রাখে। তো এইগুলো যদি আমার মনে হয় যদি ঠিকঠাক মতো হয়, তাহলে এটা আসলে একজন আরেকজনকে সাপোর্ট করে। এই বিষয়টা এরকম, ইটস লাইক এ চেইন, যেখানে একজন আরেকজনের হাত ধরে থাকে। তো এখানে একটা হাত না থাকলে যেটা হয় আর কি, সেই জায়গায় আমরা বারবার হোঁচট খাচ্ছি। বলে আমি মনে করি। কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় না যে চলচ্চিত্রের এডুকেশনের জায়গায় আমাদের মানে দ্য ওয়ে উই এডুকেট পিপল সেখানে কোনো ল্যাকিংস আমি দেখি না। কিন্তু হয়তোবা এই ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার গুলো ঠিক থাকলে এটার চেহারাটা হয়তোবা অন্যরকম হতো। এটার আউটপুটটা হয়তো অন্যরকম হতো। তখন হয়তো আমরা এভাবে ভাবতাম না।
ধন্যবাদ ভাই, ধন্যবাদ। Tanvir was talking about Bobby and Jed. He was talking about how a centralized film council can more organize our film educations that we have in Bangladesh. And he was actually guiding how we can have a like better infrastructure than this. We have a few questions in the screen, and both of the questions that I'm seeing from Manush Media and Atoshi. That is, one is currently our industry is not organized and doesn't have structure. How filmmakers community propose government for industry development. And the second one is, can we establish a film council centrally and transform BFDC to Dhaka Film Commission according to the structure of BFDC? I guess our third segment, which is the government and people's correlation with a film council, will answer your question. And if not, then we will address your questions accordingly. Thank you. So we'll move on to our third segment. It has been a wonderful talking already that we have passed almost 50 minutes. And I guess like we had a more to discuss in this previous two sections, but we'll have to like move forward as we have a limited time for our segments. So the next one is government filmmakers and people's co-relations through FDCP. And I would like to ask both of you, do the government officials control the matters of FDCP, as Bobby was addressing it beforehand, that how the filmmakers are taking a part of FDCP and how the government officials are taking a part of FDCP, and how are both of these balancing? So I would like to ask Bobby first, as you were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, this is a very important question and also a sensitive one because, as you know, some artists really feel that art is an expression that can quite disrupt a certain stability of a system. But in the Philippine setting, in FDCP, we know that it's a government oversight in a way because it is under the office of the president and the chairperson is appointed by the president. But there are ideals that the agency or the commission or the council live by, and these are also drafted in its beginnings. These were drafted by a coalition of filmmakers, academics, film academics, critics, producers, everyone in the creative industry. It was a consolidation of efforts because it started with a policy proposal. You really have to start with that. You work together as a community, draft it, put it down on paper, and of course, you go into a discourse that has to be talked about, and you agree, and that's where negotiation begins. You know, where do we meet halfway? How is this done? So, in a perfect ideal world, of course, there should be no intervention of the government. There has to be, complete freedom of expression. But we all know that is in the ideal world. At some point we need to really also uh, in a way compromise. So in recent years here in the Philippines, our chairpersons are actually filmmakers, the people sitting in the council. They are filmmakers, respected also with a reputation that are in a way solid and stable, and filmmakers respect them. So I think that's a very good balancer. And they have significant experience in cultural work, not just also in film, but they also have leadership qualities that they carry with them. Of course, there are tensions, and sometimes it goes in the media, it gets talked about. But I think that's also healthy because differences need to also be ironed out. There are filmmakers who have also advocacies that they fight for and they need to stand for it. There are films that feel that they are less given importance and so on. But these are all part of the film ecosystem, even if your council will eventually be established. These are all the inevitable issues that the leadership need to face. And so it is crucial who the president appoints. They have to listen also to the feedback from the ground going up. And so far, FDCP, in my point of view, and I'm not saying this with bias, but really, I think FDCP has a very good level of credibility in terms of collaborating with filmmakers and even in the regions and academic professionals. So it is consultative. They even have town hall meetings with us sometimes. Recently, they visited our city and put together filmmakers, and they opened the floor. What do you want us to know? What are your problems? What can we do to help? So these are all wonderful signs that they are listening to us and they are collaborative. So I hope Jed will also say something, being someone from the capital, from Metro Manila.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I totally agree with Bobby. Um, Even though that a film council is already established, there still will always have issues. It's not always a peaceful community, but at least it is what they call democratic, or like both sides can air their their grievances, their suggestions, their their agendas, because I think it is also healthy to have those kind of like opposing positions, because in the end we all want to make a better to have a better film council, to have a better um like the life of the filmmaker will be, like will be really will benefit from the efforts of the film council. So it's really important to have that open communication between the leaders and the stakeholders, which are the filmmakers. So in terms of eh, in terms of how the government officials kind of can you say control the or the power of the government officials to run FDCP, which is the as cultural arm. I think well, I don't know any specific stories that really have like, very controversial in terms of like a government official really, what do you call that, um ano tawag doon? Yung inaano niya, yung parang overpowering the leaders that they already um chosen for to lead the the film council. But anyway, there were like few issues, but I think this already resolved or ongoing or whatever. But this is not between a government official and the film leader. It's really more of like leadership within the organization. But I think it's normal, and yeah, as long as all the efforts will go towards the betterment of the organization, I think yeah, I'm all for it.
Thank you, both of you guys. But I have a follow-up question in this segment. Like, as we're talking about this government officials, the bureaucrats who are in the lead roles of FDCP, does the government recruit the officials who have a certain film-related education degree, or is there any kind of things that is mandatory to be in FDCP that is film-related to work as a government official?
Well, that's I don't know. Jed, would you like to? But
You
anyway,
mean the
just briefly,
qualification?
the qualification, is that
Yeah, yeah,
what you're asking?
Uh,
correct. Yeah.
The rule in the selection of they are actually part of the president's cabinet officials, so they are like an inner circle. basically there's only one rule: you have to serve at the pleasure of the president. So it is actually anyone that the president would love to work with. So basically, if that person appointed disappoints the president and also disappoints the stakeholders, then the tension needs to be ironed out. Although most of the time, it's really the president's decision that is actually upheld. It's the one that gets followed. Even if the person is unlikable, for example, or not popular, but the president believes that the person can do the job, there's very little that we can do about it until the president's term is finished. Then there can be a change of leadership again because they are co-terminus. So they sit in the position for as long as the president is there, or they can be changed by the president anytime the president wants. So that's the system here in the Philippines, right, Jed? That's how we do it.
Correct. Correct, Bob. But so far, from all the previous leaders of the FDCP, they all came from the film industry. So of course, there's the actress Miss Lisa Dino, the actor Tirso Cruz III. Jose Javier Reyes is a very respected screenwriter, producer, and director in the Philippines. So far in terms of leadership, I think so far everyone is what do you call that, qualified. Um, because they're all coming from they all understand how to be a film worker. So I guess it's their chance of really, you know, doing good for everyone, because they have the chance to change or to influence a policy that could really benefit all the everyone in the industry. So yeah, well, in terms of the qualification, I think so far we have um good bunch of leaders. Hopefully it will continue like that. So hopefully, actually, I think hopefully it will never be led by a politician. So I really hope it's really just filmmakers, actors, and directors and producers. So they could really speak
You
for
need to.
us.
That's wonderful. Of
Yeah.
course, you need to have like the industrial knowledge to be the leaders of certain company council. Th- Thank you so much for your answers. And I do have another questions on this segment that like what is the government's like, as there are a lot of funding, a lot of initiative that the government is taking through FCP, but what is the government's take and benefit if you can narrate it for at least for our government also, like if there is a centralized film council, this is how the government can get benefited in the longer run. So in the examples of FTC, uh, Bobby, would you like to go first?
A long period of also in a way germination, but what is it's a good question. What is in it for the government? What do they get out of funding all of that? But I guess you mentioned that Bangladesh has a rich literary treasure that can be developed into an audiovisual material or film material, cinematic material. So the benefit really is not direct, it's indirect, but symbolic, that the government gets from it. It's like a soft power, in a way. And I think government should understand that cinema is actually it's equal to one's national identity also. The stories we tell reflect who we are, because we use our language, we shoot in our locations, in our landscapes, and it is our spirit, our particular milieu, or the moment of who we are, our being. And so with that, the soft power comes in a form of also of diplomacy. When you are being selected in an international film festival, you actually go there not as a person but as a citizen of your country. That's also soft power. The presence there is also participation, is actually being a part of a particular of a global, community. So it's also a tourism promoter, and every country probably values that, how they are being presented to the world. And yeah, soft power also means national pride. When some filmmaker wins abroad, here in the Philippines, it gets national coverage. It gets talked about. You're all over the news. Our friends, Jed and Gio, our classmate in AFIS, like they're all over the news because they keep winning, and a lot of other filmmaker friends. So that's really, for me, that's a cultural capital. It's something that is not equated to something material. That's also, it's not also immediate in terms of gratification, but it's a long term a building block to create what's your place in this world, what kind of cultural capital you're investing into. So Bangladesh should think that having that kind of council, it's being like visible. It's, you are visible, but you are not being intrusive in your artist's circle. You are there, but you're not getting in the way because you are supportive of your people, and they are the representation of who you are. So that's what I think the government takes from it. So I hope Jed can give us something more also.
Okay, my turn. Sorry, I have a delay in my Wi-Fi. Anyway, I totally agree with Bobby about the soft power of how a film council can really help the national identity actually of the country. So it's really not the tangible ones, but of course the tangible ones are also important because it's income generating. It gives jobs. It creates job for the people in a certain country. Through the film tourism, people are film production, foreign film production will go to their country, and they will give jobs locally. And then while doing that, you also promote somewhere along those stories that will be shot in Bangladesh. It will also like um, capture a certain essence of your country, like maybe the language, the wardrobe, the scenery, the beautiful scenery that will be captured on film, and eventually it will be showcased outside the country. So it's like, it's one of the ways of how a country can like boost the soft power. I think that's how the Koreans, the Korean waves, the key dramas, the key Korean films are really now making waves and um, really helping boosting the Korean economy to its highest level. And maybe also it's also one of our aims here to really use films as a platform to influence the world. You know, yeah. Aside from the of course the soft power, the income generation, the film tourism, of course it's important also of it's a way of preserving the national identity um, of our country, you know, because it safeguards the cultural heritage and promoting national pride. So it's like um, actually the film council will definitely benefit from the government and vice versa. It it's really it's a two-way street. It cannot work without the help of the government, and the government really also need the help of the film council. So it's really, so that's how I think. So yeah.
Thank you, both of you. Wonderful insights, and of course, like I totally agree with both of you. The cultural empowerment there is, the more there are possibilities of economical empowerment as well from the government. As you have given examples of K-pop and K-drama as well, and we have seen it over the last 10, 15 years, that how it is going global and helping the also the government of Korea as well. So I would like to ask Tanvir Bhai as well if you want to add on to this matter of how the government can get benefited through film council and the overall film economy. And also if you can address that final question of ours that is in the chat box, that if we can transform BFDC to Dhaka Film Commissions and according to the structure of BFDC by Atushi. Tanvir Bhai, please.
Okay. For to answer your first question, I'm totally agreed with Jed. Like, it's a two-way street. It's definitely a film, having a film council can benefit the government in many ways, and also to get promoted or to do what you do, you need the government backing. So it's a both-way connection. And how the government can be benefited. Film is an industry. So when industry develops, it's the same way a government is getting benefited when a garments industry, R&D industry is developing. It can be considered in the same way business wise. And if you have a proper film council already, and if you can establish proper infrastructural policies, and if we can follow that honestly and truly, I'm sure that our cinema will be the spokesperson for the government, and there will be a big visibility. Like for example, I would give an example of FDCP, that in any festival you go, you will find at least a booth or at least a place for FDCP or Filipino cinema, where they actually not only giving the place or arranging that place for their filmmakers, they also promote the best possible way to their filmmakers. Like you will be seeing their faces on the walls and everywhere. They put them in a nice way. They lift them up. So what happens in a festival is, in a film market, there are a lot of international buyers or international producer or international policymakers. They also see, instantly they get to know a filmmaker from your country who he was never meant to be. So it's an instant connection they can build, and it becomes very easy for that filmmaker to reach them afterwards, because they already have a visibility. And also it's a very energy boosting backup when a government recognizes you for your work. What you are doing, you have been recognized by your government, meaning when you are going to a country or when you are representing your country somewhere else, you are actually the flag bearer of your country, and your government supports you. Your government recognizes you. So it's a big energy boosting and confidence boosting thing also, so that you can actually deliver your best. So that's how they are actually taking care of their film industry. It's not a vague term that taking care of industry. The government cannot be a nanny changing diapers of a film industry. It doesn't work like that, right? It works like nurturing the people there, nurturing the talents there. And when the government will nurture the talents will bring the benefits for the government. Like if Bangladesh had a film council, and Bangladesh government patroned the film council, and in a year 5 of our filmmakers can take their cinema into the global stage. That means you can anticipate, or you can at least hope, that on the next year there will be one production coming in Bangladesh as well. And one production comes in Bangladesh with a lot of opportunities, a lot of job offers, and a lot of learning capacities, learning exchanges. So this can help actually many way. And also you need to have administrators At the same time, you need to have filmmakers. It's a nice blend. You cannot actually run a film council with only having filmmakers, or vice versa. Either way, you cannot run the film council only having government officials or administrators. So it's kind of both. You need to you need to find the proper balance between these two, and it's also capacity learning to each other as well. Like as a filmmaker, to run a film council, you need to have some know-how about administration, and also working as an administrator in a particular place like a film council, you need to have some know-how about filmmaking. At least you need to know who you need to actually acknowledge, even if you are not a film critic or something. We don't expect you to become a film critic or a film enthusiast, but at least you need to understand which are the filmmakers you need to patron and how to navigate it. So it's a both way beneficiary thing, I would say.
Thank you so much, Tamil. Great. Do you want to address this question about BFTC to Dhaka Film Commission?
Yeah, it's a nice question, but to answer it, I mean, I don't think it's the ideal way to do that. And also, you can do that because I don't know how BFDC, which is Bangladesh Film Development Corporation, that actually works, the infrastructure of it. I am not very clear about it as a filmmaker, but what I can understand on a surface level, that it's a big initiative from a government established a long time ago, and it is running with that old rules and regulations, or with that old policy. It is followed by that old policy, but by this time our industry has been gradually shifting, right? It's going international. There are independent filmmakers all around, and indie cinemas are appreciated now, and people are actually not only commercial films, but also independent films are making money. There are one or two good instances of that also, which is very inspiring. So things are shifting slowly but gradually. So I think turning BFDC into a film commission is more work. That's what my understanding says. Rather than establishing a fresh commission would be easier, might be easier. And also, aside of that, you need to have the council first. You need to establish the mother body first and sustain with that for a few years. Then time will say, eventually the time will say that you need to convert your BFDC into commission or not. Maybe not. Maybe you need to come up with a fresh new film commission.
Thank you so much, Tamir Bhai. And we are already 1 hour and 20 minutes in our session, and we have like already addressed final session, which is the suggestion part that you both of you, three of you actually talked about the suggestions that Bangladeshi film industry can have. But if you allow me like 5 to 10 more minutes, I have one particular questions that we can address. Bobby and Jed, do you have like 10 minutes more that we can go? Okay, then thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes, no
So,
problem,
Jed, you
no
were talking
problem.
about. Thanks so much. Jed, you were talking about the FLEEP program and other international co-production initiatives of FDCP that you like FDCP are currently having. So if you can talk about more about the international co-production and how it works and how it actually attracts the international co-productions and co-producers and other industry to FDCP and Philippine industry.
Okay. Okay. This is about the ICOF, or the International Co-Production Fund. It's actually under the Philippines Incentive Programs, and we call it the ICOF. It is actually a highly selective program that helps Filipino producers to engage or join international film projects as a co-producing country, even as a minority producer. I believe it really helped our country's image, and proof as as a proof to the Philippines' reputation as a reliable and creative partner, not just in the Southeast Asia but also across the global filmmaking community. It puts our country to the map and be part of the global conversation in terms of potential countries to collaborate that will eventually boost the local tourism, um, to boost our local tourism. For the ICOP, I'll just need to like drop some of the important details about it. So actually, the ICOP gives a maximum of 10 million pesos, or the 175,000 USD dollars for every project. Uh, for one to be eligible, the minimum QPPE, or the Qualified Philippine Production Expense, is a cap of 8 million pesos, or 140,000 USD. So there are a bit of few people also who already got the ICOF grant, and then almost all of them are like have really successful international premiere, uh, I think that really help the, the reputation of the Philippines as, they will can consider us actually as a partner, because the Philippines, even as a third world country, have this kind of funds, even though not that big compared to other countries. But at least we are one of the few countries in Southeast Asia, or in Asia, that gives film funding. So I really believe that the ICOF program really helped us in our, in our image globally, right? And also because of that, because of those in successful co-productions, of course, led by our, Filipino producers, like of course Christine De Leon, Bianca Balbuena, um, and all the other women producers. Actually, Gio Lumuntad also, our friend, um, really help, people recognizing the Philippines, or noticing us, that we are a possible partners for international co-production. So yes, but personally, I haven't had the opportunity of having the grant, but it's one of my goals to really to get that ICOF grant someday. So yeah, but I've received other grants from the FDCP, like the IFSAP, or the IFSAP is the International Film Studies Assistance Program. This is where it gives financial travel grants to any Filipino filmmakers who will join prestigious festivals, pitching forums, or talent labs all over the world. As long as the filmmaker is an official participant from the organization with an invitation letter. And for Asian travel, just to give you an idea, they give a certain amount of 400 to 800 USD per person. Um, but for the European travels, they will give a minimum of 1,400 up to 2,100 USD per person for the travel grant. But of course, uh, the a filmmaker can receive two travel grants per year, as long as he or she will clear all the liquidations, the post report after that one travel. So I think these are great programs now for the FDCP, the ICOF, the FLIP, the Film Location Incentive Program, and the IFSAP, or the International Film Studies Assistance Program. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Bobby, do you
And to
have
know more
anything to
about
add on this?
sorry, to know more about
No, no,
ICOF,
please go ahead.
please check their website.
Of course, of course. Bobby.
Yeah, Jed actually gave us the details of that,
Mhm.
but also just to also like give an idea, if you eventually like question how will you attract international co-production, I think you need to also collaborate with your internal agencies, that you don't overlap with the processes, so that because foreign filmmakers are really after also the efficiency and transparency. They need to they don't want to feel like you're giving them a hard time. I think that's because I had a conversation with FDCP officials, and they really want to make sure that they are facilitative, because that's what makes other countries that are film location favorites, because it's easy. There's a one-stop shop. You just go to the film commission and they take care of everything. It can cost a lot of money, but it's not difficult. They do things for you. You will just have to be ready to spend. So, but you need to have that worked out. There has to be like agreements with the internal departments in Bangladesh. You also have to have clear incentive structures, because what Jed mentioned about the ICOF and Film Philippines, they're very very clear about the specific guidelines for you to enjoy tax rebates, the incentives. So that's one thing, and ultimately you need to make the international productions. You need to build trust. I think that's very important. You build trust by, again, we go back to your presence in international film festivals. It doesn't have to be too many of you, just groups of filmmakers who are always present, because networking is also very important. And I think, Hasib, you've experienced that when you were in AFIS. You know how important networking really is. So we can start with that.
Thank you so much, both of you guys. And we do have another government like in Bangladesh. We do have a government fund, which is government gives production grant to 32 films, features, documentaries, and short. So I would like to ask Tanvir Bhai as well about if we have any suggestions to our government to introduce the international co-production funds, probably for two or three projects in our government grants that we have, and how it can actually create more international relationships in terms of country and cultures.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. I mean, they should, and it's the high time, because your films are going international. You are having visibilities. You are meeting people. So, government can do one thing, that since Bangladesh film industry is booming and it's developing right now, not as developed as Philippines or Thailand or Indonesia. I mean, internationally. So what they can do is, my suggestion would be, they can, and it's not a new thing. Many industries already have done it. Like, you can make some conditions, like I will fund you if there is if in your film there is Bangladeshi interest or Bangladeshi location or something. You can make a condition like that, and secure a portion from your funding to the international film industry or the international people also, international films also, so that there will be it can act like a bridge. It can be a seed start. It can be a starting point where actually filmmakers around us, like, if I do not consider like Europe or USA, at least for Southeast Asia or other parts of South Asia, they can also collaborate with us, and this cultural exchange will lead us to somewhere else, I believe, because collaboration always takes you in a next step, next stoppage, and which is actually ahead of where you were before. And this cultural exchange not only financially benefit you, but also it will open so many more windows and doors, for the filmmakers, for the industry, and also capacity exchanges. Like, you will get to know so many technical people, so that you can actually work with them later on. So that's how you need to have a starting point. And this can be a very good starting point, since the government is already having that fund. Like, out of these 32 films, if they start with 3 or 5, it's not so much, but it also actually starts the dialogue. It already starts to help you to actually bridge between the outer world, and day by day it will have its own shape, so it's always better, I believe.
Thank you so much. And we're almost at the end of our session, and it has been like 30 minutes plus as we are like discussing wonderful, wonderful things. And I guess like this discussion can go on and on for later stages. And we should have like more sessions with FDCP and Filipino filmmakers and producers, and of course, like our from our office community, as we have a lot of friends in there. So uh, I thank you so much, Bobby and Chet, and also Tanvir Bhai for joining us, for giving us time and your wonderful insights. And as to wrap it up, I would like to address Manush Mehdi's question. He asked about how filmmakers community propose government for industry development. I guess we have already started it through this kind of events, through this kind of discussion, and this is our duty as filmmakers to keep talking and keep our relationship up, keep the community strong, and to work collaboratively, and also to think that government is also a part of us and we are part of our government also. We just need to be aligned, and in futures and in upcoming days, hopefully we are going to be more aligned. That's our idea of it. And as we talked about Filipino film industry, FDCP and Bangladesh, and we uh, had our presence together in Beef and in other programs, and we are hopeful to meet you guys in person also in future again. And probably as we enjoyed ourselves in Filipino nights in Beef, probably there will be a time in upcoming years that there will be a Bangladeshi night in Beef and other uh, film festivals as well. So thank you so much, and looking forward to meet you guys in person and talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck,
Yes, we'll have
guys.
a
I hope
Bangladesh
I hope
night
you make it
party,
happen.
so we can try the Bangladeshi food.
Of course.
Yes, let's do it.
We actually had it in 2023 in Busan. You
I
missed
think you
Oh,
that.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In 2023, we had that
there
in
was
Busan.
a
I'm in
we were there
2022. Yeah,
2022
yeah, yeah.
with Hasib. Yeah, we were there.
Yes,
We missed the
Yeah, but
yes,
2023.
yes,
We should
yes,
do
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. But hopefully, we'll be doing it every year.
yes,
Let's see.
more to come.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Take
Thank you.
Thank
care.
you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, Bobby.
having us.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Bobby.
Tanvir. Thank you.
Thank you.